I can't hear you, mate.
You what?
I can't hear you again. You muted me.
What are you talking about, you
Have you muted
lunatic?
me? I can't
Muted
hear you.
ya?
Hello?
Hello, Baz.
I can't hear you, mate. I've got two in now. Look, I can't hear you. I cannot hear you, bruv. We're Western Club Army. We're Western Club Army. That. Do 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 do.
Any better now, mate? Can you hear me?
Frankie, gets away. Frankie, gets away.
Mate, it looks like it's working. I think it's your side.
Frankie,
They can
do
hear us
you
both, but no one can hear
remember
you.
me? Can you hear me, Frankie?
I can hear you loud and clear, mate.
No, no, no. You don't love me, and I know now.
Big up.
Frank Star.
Yeah.
Got you. I got you.
Way.
I'll tell you what it is. It was that bump on the head Christmas Eve. It's knocked me mad.
That mate, that has done you no good at all. That was serious, mate. You need to get that checked. That was a whack, mate.
Can anyone hear me now? Can everyone hear us?
Everyone can hear you, mate.
Someone's just put no sound at all.
Yeah, but that's because I
now
muted it
we're
all.
in.
We're all loud and clear.
Loud and clear, loud and kicking. Merry Christmas to you all. I hope you all had a great time and day with friends, family, whoever you spent it with. I can't have two of these in my It's too loud. With friends and family, whoever you spent it with. I know I had an enjoyable one Christmas Eve. If you see me,
I just love your commitment to still get the Chinese. Man's in trouble. He's the man down. Like, he's had the biggest blow to the head that you've ever seen. But yeah, he's still managed to pull out. We need to get a Chinese.
Mate, honestly, it's tradition. Christmas Eve is the Chinese around my sister's house. And I always go out for a few beers before I get ratted. And I was steaming. And the crack with that is, I don't know how much you all see, but so I went back to their house, ruined, ready to get a Chinese. And I knew all about that. I knew it all. I just sat indoors. And you know when you've had a beer and you just think, well, I need a bit of air now. And I went out to the garden. And they've got a big brick wall along their stairs. Yeah, so I steps and I just thought I've got to lean against this. And I just leant there like that, just sucking it in. And my brother-in-law said, I knew you was all right because the garden security light kept coming on. He said, but then it didn't. He said, no, I've opened the door and you're just on the floor. And so I must have just gone wallop. And the lump on the back of my head just proves that it was a blacked out Cheerio. But apparently I went in and ate the Chinese. Didn't even know he had one. Didn't know.
I looked at the battle cruise you was in, mate, and the fact that they had entertainment and you was in a pub, I think all of us, once we're allowed to do that again, won't be any different, mate. I think we'll all be in the same boat. So, and then everyone that we put out a couple of days on the run up till Christmas, obviously, you know, we wanted to give back a little bit. There's no monetization here. There's no Patreon. There never will be. We'd never benefit from or profit from West Ham fans. That's not what we're all about. So we put out that if anyone wanted, a Christmas present, we've got some memorabilia laying around, and a few people DM'd in. We don't want anything for it. We said we'd just send it out for nothing. So we did that. A lot of it's been dispatched. Some more of it will go tomorrow, and then it'll all be wrapped up and it'll be on their way to people. We do still have a couple of little bits left, so if anyone else is looking for anything, then give us a DM, message us, and we'll see if we can get something out to you as well. The only thing we're asking for is covering the postage, mate. We don't profit from West Ham. We're family, mate. That's what we're all about. That's something that we're always going to stick to. So, hope all of you enjoy the content, and it will always be for free. Interesting one today, mate.
But we're more than happy for donations. I'll send you my PayPal and think later. No, I'm only joking. No, mate, we have to win today. We've got to get back to winning ways. I know we're still up amongst the top 10, but then points are getting closer. We need to win. If we win now, we can only go up one position, I believe. We can only go 9th.
Yeah.
And it's about keeping in touch and distance. If not, all of a sudden the good start is going to be pretty not irrelevant, because finishing 10th, 11th, 12th would be really good for us. But again, the teams are below us. Arsenal winning yesterday, now only 4 points behind us. With the season they've had compared to what we've had, you can't get caught in. Winter day, 24 points. In fact, we can't even go 9th. We can stay where we are, but just a point behind Saints, who are 9th, and Tottenham and Chelsea all on 25 points, and Villa. We must win, have to win, or we're going to get...
Before we get into today's game, mate, that was a mad result yesterday. And we spoke about it on Away Day Radio, our show every Saturday morning, 12 till 2. So if you haven't already checked out Away Day Radio, you can listen to the show at awaydayradio.co.uk. They also have loads of music throughout the days as well. Some proper good old school interviews with some good football lads as well. It's a blinding radio station, so head over there and check them out. But we spoke about that, and Sky had predicted that Arsenal were going to win that game. A few people saw that coming, and I can only think that was because they saw what we saw against Chelsea. But looking at that now, mate, and someone did message it to us and said on one of our YouTube videos, it just shows that we weren't up to scratch when we played Chelsea the other week, mate. And the fact is, they ain't that good. And we come on after the game, and while we weren't negative about it, and we said, we're happy with the start we've had, we're over the moon with it, really, because we couldn't have expected it. We just felt Chelsea were there for the taking, and they weren't as good as everyone said. We got a little bit dug out for that by a few people, saying sometimes you just got to say that you've been beaten by the better team. I don't think they were the better team, mate. I still stand by that. And I think we're looking at it now, and that was coming. Chelsea are there to be got at, and Arsenal are in a terrible, terrible run of form, and they've got an absolutely run through Chelsea, mate. So looking back at that now, I'm even more sort of disappointed we didn't really have a go at them. And I just hope today that that's not our plan again. I hope that we actually go and try and take this game to them, because one of the biggest concerns for me today is they concede the lowest amount of shots inside the box in the Premier League. They don't let people get shots inside the box. Against Chelsea, shots from outside the box, we had 0. So if we're going to struggle to get shots in the box, and we don't bother having shots outside the box because that's just how we are, we're going to really struggle to get goals today, and that is my concern.
That's how we are from our setup. That result against Chelsea, everybody see it at half-time, what was needed. The reason why, without being... It's a bad result for our Chelsea being playing, I agree. But, to be fair, it wasn't a 3-0 game, no doubt about that. But I don't think we've done enough to win either. If you do not have a shot on target in 90 minutes of football and only manage 6 other shots, and to be fair, them 6 shots weren't really close ones. They're going to include Hudder's header that went past the near enough at the corner flag. That's what they'll include. So you don't deserve nothing from games like that. What that game needed, every single fan could see it at half time, was the change of Noble to come off for a fast attacking midfielder, which would have been Ben Rama. That was the change that needed to happen. It didn't happen. Today is all about starting right. If you go there, if you start today with an over defensive side and a cautious side, cautious is probably the right word, then you'll get what you deserve today as well, because they're a hard team to beat. You've got to get at them. If you keep getting at them and knocking on the door, you'll break them down. You will not break them down having 6 chances in a football match, which we created against Chelsea and dominated play. We dominated play against them, to be fair.
And like I say, mate, it's easier to have a shot against Chelsea than it is against Brighton. Much easier. So the fact that we didn't have a shot against Chelsea and you're going into Brighton today, which are a lot more organised defensively and a bit more solid than Chelsea are. Obviously, Chelsea have good attacking options, but they're no good at the back. We're going to really struggle to get chances today. And I'm telling you now, before the Chelsea game, I come on here and we all said, if we start with Fornals, Haller and Bowen, we will not score from open play. That's what we said before the game even started. We said we will not score from open play. That transpired that we didn't even have a shot on target. Well, today, if you go and do the same thing again, mate, I'll stick by it. We won't score from open play. It's exactly the same thing. We have to do something different today. And
depends how he sets up. It does depend. If he plays them, mate, if he plays them 3 with 5 at the back, you'll score goals. If he plays them 3 with 4 at the back, you won't score goals.
Absolutely
there isn't the pace to get out. And if you're playing 4 at the back today, which I think we have to, although I prefer 5, I think we have to with what's available. It's simple for me today. And I've said this last week. Ryan Fredericks can play right at a 5. If not, Ben Rama and Lanzini, but I believe Lanzini's out from a lot of reports. They must start. The easy thing for me today, my lineup for today would be back 4, right back Kufau, left back Cresswell, Balbrainer and Ogbon at the back 2. Sat in front of them, Declan Rice and Surchek. So you've got 2 protection, 3 midfielders would be Fredericks to the right, Bowen of the left, Ben Rama in the middle, and then Haller up top. That would be exactly how I've done it. Rice and Surchek cover both the fullbacks. You've got enough pace in Fredericks to cover this side. Bowen will graft. You know that. Fornals will go to waste in that formation. It's proven time and time again. Proven. He's fine when he plays at the front of the 3. If you're not playing him there, there's no chance of it happening, in my opinion.
But we're seeing these mad opinions again. We're seeing this Snodgrass left wing back thing again, which we shot down last time, which is crazy. Obviously, Masuaku with his operation, he ain't going to be back anytime soon. We've got to find an option now. I do think we've got a lot better options than Snodgrass. Don't get me wrong. I think Snodgrass has got a role to play, mate. But that's what I'm saying. I just think he has got a role to play, but it isn't as a left wing back, and I think that would open us up and leave us to be exposed so much.
But on that note, yeah, if you're saying Snodgrass ain't a wing back, which I completely agree with, why do we dig out others that play in that role?
Because I think the point that you have to say on that, mate, sometimes you do need players to play in a different position. Sometimes it's for what's best of the team. If you've got injuries and you haven't got depth, which we know we haven't, and we all know whose fault that is, the rumours that we ain't, and we'll come on to that in a minute, that we're not going to spend in the transfer window. And I've always felt like we won't spend in the transfer window. If you haven't got personnel to play, sometimes you've got to ask someone to do a job. The thing is, I don't think Snodgrass has got the traits to do a job at left wing back. As Andy Walsh has just said there, I'd rather play Johnson there. I'd rather play Fredericks there. I'd rather move Sufal over there.
Fredericks left wing back.
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely, mate. Because at least he is a natural. At least he's got pace. At least he has got something to get back, help out. At least he I know it's on the wrong side, and he finds it difficult enough when he's on the blooming right. To be honest with you, mate. But if he's on the left, at least it's a role that he knows how to play. He knows how to play there. It's no different to saying putting Fredericks there is no different to putting Sufal there. Same thing. And you've said you put Sufal over there. It's no different.
I won't put him on the left. I won't put Sufal on the left. No way.
You said that last week that you might move him across.
No, Bowen. No? I won't put Sufal. I won't put Sufal left wing back.
Yeah, but even Bowen's a weird one, isn't it?
But that's why I won't play him as a wing back. That's what I'm saying. The change is simple. You've said it yourself, mate. You play to what you've got available, and we haven't got the availability to play with wing backs without Masuaku. Impossible. The side ain't there.
a big worry, because I do think, and we said it last week again, mate. We said I don't think our form comes back until we can get playing in that system where we had so much success. And the fact that we haven't got players to play in the way that suits us best and gets the best out of our players and the best out of the team is madness. That we haven't even got. It's not even like. This is a good question, mate. To be honest, now. You know, we've got a left wing back in the club somewhere, whether it be in youth, whether it be, there must be someone. If you feel like that system is absolutely the best for us against Brighton today, I mean, we've had it before, mate, when you've had to look at youngsters to step up. Why would you think that, you know, if that's the best system, we should actually try and bring in a youngster as left wing back to give them a go?
Agreed.
At least then we can play in the right way.
Yeah, 100%. And if there isn't one at the football club, throughout the whole set, they're saying wrong. And this is where, again, it all boils down to your manager, because if that system with wing-backs is what that manager wants, the entire football club, every level, should be playing that way. Ready to take the step, as Bournemouth always done. You don't need to be a name then, because you know your position. You know what you have to do. And that's where, mate, this is where everything's so wrong and not rude. It's unprofessional. I don't want to dig out David Moyes because I think he's done well for us this season. But this is the difference between a manager and a top manager. A top manager wouldn't allow this. Wouldn't allow it. Andy has said it. They're all isolated. But this isn't the first week. Last week wasn't the first week. It's not happened since we've come back from lockdown and we know what position we're playing. So I'm not rude, mate. I'm not going to fall for that as an excuse for isolation that they're in. It's not happened before. We've never seen that person be given that chance until now. Masuaku's operation come before they was all isolated.
I can't buy this isolation thing either, mate, because you can get tested within minutes now. Like some fella that I know had a test on Christmas Eve. It was there Christmas Day morning. You can get a test in no time now, mate. If you need them, they can be tested, mate.
Kent's just put, well, the link with Zinchenko would be a great signing in January. I think he'd be really good for that position.
Mate, that's fine. I get it. And as a cover for this season, do it. But that's not long term. He's never going to sign for us, mate. He's never going to sign for us full time. That's just a real short term option, mate. I want to see us go and get the players that David Moyes said he wanted to, who've ended up being good players. I wanted us to go and get Matty Cash. Matty Cash looks like a great player, mate. You know, I'd rather us go and actually sign someone who's going to be long term for West Ham United than bringing in someone who's going to be there for the end of the season and then piss off somewhere else again. I'm not sure I agree with bringing in loans like that, mate.
Well, any loan that you break, you've got to have with the intention to sign. I agree. You know, it's pointless just having someone for the sake of it. That's why I was never really that interested in having Loftus-Cheek from Chelsea. Why do I want someone for 6 months who turns out to be brilliant and then you've got to give him back? It's a waste of time. Why are you helping another club progress their player? You know, and there is things that we need to do. I just think, in my opinion, with what's available, it means you have to change. And that's what a good manager does. He makes changes. You know, fair play to Arteta yesterday. He completely changed the Arsenal side. Yeah. Completely. And he put people in that were hungry and fresh. And that's my point with Moyes. It's too easy. I know this works. I can only play this way. I can only stick with playing this player in this position. You know, and again, the form of Fornals isn't what's the word I'm looking for? Isn't a shock with the change of formation. The form of Aaron Cresswell is no change with the fact he's got people playing in front of him who graft and help him out. No, it happens for a reason. You can't sit and praise everybody because their form's improved, yet call players whose forms change because of them being moved formations shit. That's right. And I've said this time and time again. And I'll defend Haller and I'll defend Fornals until I'm black in the face or blue in the face, because they ain't shit. They're just played out of position. And I use it all the time with Di Canio. Paolo Di Canio is not shit, but Paolo Di Canio would look shit in that Haller role he's playing now as well. And he would look shit.
And I absolutely agree with you, mate. I really do. And I don't think Fornals is shit. I think he's proven at the beginning of the season that he's got a lot to offer West Ham if he's played in the right way and in a role that suits him. But I think what people get frustrated with, and I think where it gets miscommunicated a little bit at times, is you just end up getting really frustrated, mate. A perfect example is Haller up front. you know, in that role on his own up front, he's completely ineffective, doesn't do enough in the game, is no good for us. I've seen everyone turn him around, you know, suggesting Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko's just as bad up there, mate. I think he won't do any better than Haller. I don't think that's the answer. But the reason why people scream at Haller is because the manager keeps doing the same thing every single week that clearly don't work. And in the end, the fans just get pissed off with it, mate. And I think sometimes through passion, through emotion, we forget that it is because the manager's playing them in a certain way. So I get it. But I think that's what people have got to appreciate. It isn't really players. I don't think anyone's really saying Haller is the worst football player we've ever seen. He's clearly got talent. He's clearly got ability. But I think everyone gets so pissed off that he's played in a way that is just really, you know, doesn't suit him one little bit. And when you get frustrated with it as football fans, in the end, that emotion comes out and you scream and you shout and you call him whatever, and everyone thinks, oh, you know, everyone's just saying he's a terrible footballer. I'm not sure that's the case.
You know, the worst thing is you then see the tweets. He's a confidence player. You lot have helped his confidence. I've got to admit, you must have really helped him with all the tweets. That's probably done him the world of good.
I don't think we're anywhere near as bad as Arsenal the other day, getting their goalkeeper to delete it. But I do get what you're saying, mate. It definitely doesn't. And that's the thing.
And I'm not saying everyone should lie about things and say, "Oh, you've had a good game today. You was unlucky," because everybody needs to be criticised. But you just need to cut the game down and put the basics right. And when your manager is exposing you, as we done with Felipe Anderson as well, let's not forget that there's reasons why your performance levels drop. And when your performance levels drop, isn't just because you're shit, it's because it ain't working how you're playing. And you've frozen up on me. You back?
You back? Yeah, I'm back, mate.
You froze up on me, or did I freeze up on you?
I don't know. I think it was a bit of both. Where was you, mate?
I was saying about, I don't know, the players playing out of position, and it's not always the players that are poor.
And this is a great point. Gareth Owen here, mate. He can't hold the ball up. No, he can't. So stop playing him in a role where he's got to hold the ball up.
Exactly.
It's that simple.
And this is the problem. You know, I know, every single fan knows. If that was Antonio, the ball would be held up.
Yeah.
And that's the way we play. We can't do that. So I'll tell you what, that's exactly why I said Di Canio would be no good in that role. Doesn't mean he's shit. Fucking worst player I've ever seen at the club. Rubbish. Di Canio wouldn't hold it up.
Other comments, he needs to make more runs, far too static.
That's not his
Agreed.
game.
But he's not. He doesn't do it. He doesn't know how to make a run. He doesn't do it. He likes the ball at his feet. Mate, it is frustrating. He's one of those lazy players. Like we said before, you know, Berbatov type players. He wants the ball at his feet. Put the ball at his feet in front of goal. He will score goals. And that's it. And it is, you know, half of Haller's problem is his woeful work rate. Agreed. He has got a terrible work rate. And as West Ham fans, the one thing that we appreciate as fans is work rate. That's all we actually ask for. We don't ask for any more than that. The fact he don't give it is why people get a bit pissed off. But that's just not him, mate. It's not how he plays football. And if we're never going to play him in that way, then, you know, we're just wasting our time, mate. And that's the point. If you start with Haller up top on his own today, it is madness. Madness.
Gareth just put, we have zero options, so we have to put up with it. We don't have to, mate. We have to change our way. We don't have to play the same way every single game. This is the problem. For me, that's the problem. If Antonio's fit, the way we play works every time. Fornals works every single time you play that way. Without Antonio, it doesn't work. And it's clear to see it doesn't. But we've never been any different. We've just done the same thing week in, week out with the same players. It's never been any different. All right, we might have gone to 4 at the back. But when we put 4 at the back, what we've done then is another player who will get criticised forever by our fan base. His legs are gone, he's had it. We'll play Mark Noble as a number 10. Ridiculous. All you're doing is exposing that man yet again. There's no need for it. And when you do that, and fans are on about, he's rubbish, he slows us down. Well, what do you expect Mark Noble to be a player who's going to be quick and driving out with a ball and running at people with his feet? I've never seen that in my life as a West Ham fan. Even when he first come through into the team, he never drove at defences and things like that. And we're expecting him to do it now at the end of it. It's disgusting. And this is where the manager's wrong. Today's a big test. And I said it earlier on. If we don't win today, because especially if we approach this game negative and cautious, if we don't win today, I'm sorry, And I will. I'm going to say this. I will still give Moyes the contract. I think we need a manager to be. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word is. We need someone who's going to be here for a term, and for me, you need to get that sorted sooner rather than later, and keep having interim managers. Give him the contract, but if today he goes into this game cautious, without attacking it, Brighton at home, who I believe sit fourth from bottom in the Premier League. Yeah, they do. With 12 points, 2 wins this season. If we approach this game today with caution, let's hit them on the counter. At home, I'm sorry, but I am going to start to question him. Although I will give him the contract because I think he's done enough. But I will question why we're playing against Brighton at home with 6 or 7 defending players. Get at them. The game is there to be won.
That totally make you right, mate. And but this is the big question, isn't it? I think we all think that playing Haller in the same role that we've done in the past 3 or 4 weeks isn't working, is completely pointless. What's the point in doing it? If you're not going to play him there, who are you going to play up front?
Haller. But you play players close to him. You don't play players that far away from him, which is exactly what we do. You've got to play players in like that to him.
I'm not sure I would, mate. I think Bowen has been struggling for a bit of confidence of late. And not confidence, but I think he's just been trying too hard. He ain't the same Bowen that we saw, maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago. I would be tempted to move him central, mate, and put him and Benrahma in behind him and have a bit of pace.
Just let that Arsenal fan know that the top 10 ain't for everyone either. If you're still listening, mate.
No, he's all right. He comments on our videos. He's all right.
He is all right, but just let him know the top 10's not for everyone either. Even them big clubs with them big flash stadiums.
But we said that Arsenal will be in the top 10 this season. I've got no question about it, and I've never.
They're going down.
They was never a relegation side, never.
They won't go down.
I would potentially put Bowen central with Benrahma, and we've lacked pace, we've lacked creativity, we've lacked a way to get at teams. I think that could, just give us a little bit more, to be honest with you, mate. And Moyes, he loves bringing a winger into central and using them as a striker. So give it a go.
Look at that comment.
I just want to see something.
Football with Brownie's bang on it as well, and we don't see him getting criticised. He's right, mate. He's right. It's getting caught. It's too much. It's too greedy. It needs to be mixed up.
I don't necessarily think he's been found out. I just think that...
I think he's got greedy.
I don't know. I think the way that we've been playing with a back four and having Soufal deeper hasn't helped him. Again, we've said it. In the wing-back system, everyone looked better. There's a reason for that. Probably apart from Soufal, to be honest with you.
I was just about to say,
Soufal, he's probably the man who didn't. However, I think he did give Bowen a bit more support and a bit more freedom. And I think Bowen's having to work twice as hard now to make things happen. And I think in those last couple of games, we found it so difficult to make things happen that he's trying too hard. He's trying to force things at times. And I think that's why he doesn't look the same. I don't think he's been found out. I really don't.
And that's why I've said it. I would now move him over to the left. The way we're playing, I'd put him out on the left and I'd put Fredericks on the right. I honestly would today. That would be the change for me, and I'd have Benrahma in that number 10. That's exactly what I would do today. Someone put it on the air a minute ago. I don't remember who, so I apologise. Brighton are good in the back in the air. You ain't going to win balls in the box all the game today. You'll need to be playing. You'll need to be shooting from outside the box. There's a reason why they've conceded least amount of shots in it. You ain't not rude. You ain't going to get that from Mark Noble playing number 10 today. You will from Benrahma. He'll have a go. You'll get that, and that's exactly what we've got to do.
We've got to do something, mate. There's so many answers. I mean, we've got some here. Look, would you try and play? Go on.
James Thorne, James Thorne. I wouldn't want a back three with Soufal in it, if I'm honest with you.
No, and that's what I was just about to bring up. I don't think Soufal's the right man to play there. Do you?
No, I don't personally. No, but to be fair, I didn't think that of Cresswell.
No, agreed. And one thing that I would give it is that I do think we need a change. And if it does mean that we can play in that back five and play in the way that we was playing and was working so well for us, then try it. I'm not against trying it, mate. At the end of the day, I think, and that's the biggest point today. All I want to see from today, I don't care how we line up, I don't care what the formation is, I don't care any of it. I just want to see us try something different. What will piss me off, this is the only thing that will piss me off, is if we come out with the same lineup and the same setup as we did against Chelsea. That would piss me off.
I'm with you as well. But that change isn't needed. It's simpler than that. We've got 3 centre-backs at the football club. Why do we need to convert a right-back into it?
And Diop ain't a bad one, mate.
No, and that's the point. So if that's what you're going to do, all you've got to do is put Cresswell left wing-back, Soufal right wing back, and have your 3 centre backs as centre backs. That's all you got to do today. If that's how you're going to do it. For me, I don't think Cresswell's a left wing back, in my opinion, and that's why I wouldn't do it. And that's why I would. For me, all the while Masuaku's out, I think we have to play with a back 4, in my opinion.
Kent said to help Haller, Bowen should be playing on the left, Benrahma on the right, Lanzini, and this is all. I don't disagree with any of it. I do agree with it. However, I think there have been times where we've had that set up on the pitch, and I don't think it's looked any different. We had Lanzini in there when we played Palace, and we looked better with Lanzini in that role, a lot better. And Haller got his goal. But even then, mate, I still don't think it was looking. I still don't think it was looking that much improved. I'm just not sure that keep playing this Haller up front on his own is ever going to work, no matter what you do. I just think we've got to change, mate. I really do.
Yeah, mate. Maybe there's a call to play 2 up front. It ain't going to happen. You know that a million. Who the other one is, I don't know. People have spoke about Yarmolenko. If I'm honest with you, I couldn't think of anything worse than Haller and Yarmolenko up front, because neither of them are going to run.
No.
And you're wasting, in my opinion.
This worries me as well, mate. The Benrahma doesn't work out wide. I think we all know that if he wants to try and bring Benrahma into the team, I think he's definitely not going to drop Fornals. For whatever reason, Fornals is the first name on that team sheet every single week, probably aside from Declan Rice. But Fornals seems like he is someone that Moyes just has to have in his starting lineup. So if that's the case, and you want to play Fornals in his best way, in his best position, with a back 4, you've got to bring him into the middle, and it means Benrahma's just going to be pushed out wide. I really hope we don't see that, because Benrahma ain't the same player.
The only thing I'll say, everyone's saying Benrahma don't work out wide. Didn't we sign him as a wide player from Brentford? I think we need him. I think we need him in the middle. I do think that, whilst Lanzini's not here. But I'm sure Benrahma played the wide of the 3 at Brentford with Watkins central. 100%.
No, he did play central a lot. He didn't always play.
Benrahma?
Yeah.
I
Kent will tell you that because he watched him a lot. I
thought Watkins was the middleman. I thought he was always out to one of the sides of him.
No, and Slim Reaper put it there when, and this is the thing, mate. This is the really frustrating thing. Benrahma does play. If he plays in that left-sided position, he plays as an inside forward. Same way we used to play Fornals when Fornals used to work.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. I'm not meaning the left midfielder. I mean as in the left of the front 3 with Watkins central. That's what I meant. It would work then. And that's how Fornals works in that position. I agree. I don't want to see Benrahma as a left midfielder, because and I know, he ain't the player you want making runs back to challenge. That's exposing. He's a flair player. You shouldn't be ever wanting them out of them players. Man City, they didn't ever expect David Silva to be tracking back to make tackles. So why would any side want that of their fair players? So when I say even on the left, I meant left of the front 3. That would work for me, 100%, because he would have the pace to get round. He'd also have the pace to cut inside.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of options today, mate. That's what we know. And it's been that same way for...
We know what it'd be, though, because our manager's very stout.
That's the problem.
And that is the problem, And again, I don't want to take anything away from the start of the season we've had from him, from the changes he's made to the side. But what he needs to do, he needs to be optimistic now. He needs to have a gamble and not just keep being cautious and relying on what's worked. It's the Premier League. Nothing works week in, week out on it. We know that from sides like Man City. We know that seeing Arsenal 14th. Arsenal ain't the 14th best club in the Premier League. They're well within the top 6, 7, 8. But they're sitting 14th for a reason, because what you do week in, week out doesn't work. No disrespect, Everton are not the second best side in that league. And they're second in the Premier League for a reason.
Yeah.
They change things. I don't think these sides have played the same way with the same people every single week. Even Liverpool are top. Liverpool probably an exception, but they've had injuries and they're still top of the Premier League.
Mate, we mentioned it on the radio show yesterday. I'm sorry, but I've got to keep making the point. Like, Carlo Ancelotti was available when we decided we wanted David Moyes. And there were West Ham fan channels and West Ham people on YouTube who were turning around and saying the best thing that we did wasn't getting Carlo Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti was never the right man. Everton will never succeed under Carlo Ancelotti. Have a look at them now because they are flying, mate. And I would have given anything to see him come into West Ham, mate, because I think he is a proper manager.
Charlie Humphrey said it there. Look, Ben Rama scored 17 goals and assisted 9 goals playing left of the front three.
But it's, and this is another how shout. You play those three, isn't it? That's the difference.
This is another shout for today. And another shout. Why could we not play 4-3-3 today? But if you play 4-3-3, you have to 100% keep Declan Rice and Souček disciplined. You don't even want Souček getting involved in attacks. You need him to be strict, because your outside players in front of your fullbacks ain't going to be tracking back. You're not going to get that out of Ben Rama and Haller. No. So you need your 2 central defensive midfielders holding that role and covering that whole side of the pitch.
Yeah,
that is an option. And then you could play the 4 of them. Let's say Kufau, Cresswell, Valbuena and Ogbonna, Rice, Souček in front. Then you could have maybe, I know he's not fit, Lanzini in front of them, Ben Rama, Haller, Bowen. I think that'd work because they'll all be close and compact. You ain't got a big gap between them all. Gareth put that, the 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, but that 4-2-3-1 worries me about if they've got
4-2-1-3. Sorry,
it's also about the opposition, mate, and that we know as in a back 4, if we play with the left and the right of the 3 as forwards, not wingers, it doesn't give our left and right back any protection whatsoever. We can be got at too easy, and that's why you don't do it. That's
why the 2 in Rice and Souček have to be disciplined and not go joining in the attack. Have to be. You don't, and that's what I'm saying. As much as we like Souček getting into the box, you can't have it. You've got to make sure they just sit and they cover the whole pitch in front of them and between them.
Yeah, I think the thing that's annoyed me a little bit about it with it, mate, is, we had a brilliant start to the season, a really, really amazing start.
We overachieved.
Massively overachieved. None of us could have seen it. In those last few games, mate, see that Chelsea game?
Yeah.
There was David Moyes had a free card there to try something to try and go and win that game.
Yeah.
And he could have done anything. He could have done the weirdest things. He could have brought in Johnson. He could have, played with other people up top. He could have played any way he wanted. And I don't think anyone would have got on his back about losing that game. Same with the other games that we've had recently. I think with the injuries we've got and the lack of depth that we've got in that squad at the moment, I think his hands are totally tied. I think in the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, he could have tried anything, and I don't think he'd have had any negativity towards him whatsoever. But I feel like his answer to what we've had in the last few weeks has just been, just set up for a draw. Just make it hard. Just set up negatively as possible. He brought in Noble last week. His answer was just to make it difficult for teams, just to try and be, I don't know, so negative. And I would have just loved to have seen him have a bit more character than that and just thought, you know what, we've got points on the board, we ain't in trouble. Let's go and try and play a bit. Let's go and try and take the game to teams. And I don't think anyone would have had a problem with that.
We know he ain't got that in his locker. That's the problem. We already know that. He hasn't got it about him to be that adventurous. That's where the problem is, mate.
And this is it. From Dougie as well here. We've seen nothing like what we saw from Wolves and Leicester in the last month or so. That's because we haven't played with a back 5. We have to get back to that as quickly as possible.
But we can only get back to that when we've got the personnel to play it.
Absolutely, mate. Totally agree.
And that's the worry. Let's not make any mistakes. Our chairman told the whole world on TalkSport we've got 8 wingers. We lost 2. We lost Grady Dean Garner and Anderson, but we got in Ben Rama.
Yeah.
So where is the rest? Why are we fielding 2 goalkeepers on our substitutes bench? That's what I can't get. Mm. So,
that's interesting. Is it the back 5 or Antonio we miss? Obviously, we miss Antonio. He's a fantastic. He's an handful. But it also is the system, mate. This system, it's not just affected the overall results. It's affected players in a real bad way. There are some players' performances, mate, that are just not the same because it just doesn't suit. And Fornals is one of them who's suffered massively. Don't for 1 second think Antonio makes Fornals. It's the way that he was played and where he was played that made Fornals.
Yeah, but mate, with what you just said, Antonio don't make Fornals, but Antonio makes that formation. And without Antonio, you don't get it. Marko Arnautovic would make that formation.
Yeah.
I don't want to sign it.
Good to see you, mate, and a brilliant result against Palace, mate. There was us struggling and saying how organised they are and how difficult they are to beat, and they've been proper ironed out now by Liverpool, and yourselves are going to run through them, and after that sending off to do what you did was fantastic, mate. So well done to you lot. And we changed it from a 5 at the back because Masuaku got injured, and he didn't get injured, he had an operation, and we haven't got another left wing back in the club, so we've had to change to a back 4 instead of a back 5. What I want to ask you, mate, is you felt that some of the communication that was coming out of the club about the transfer window, not having any money, not having any budget to sign players, could have been a bit of a pulling the wool over people's eyes. And then when
we've already signed one.
Fuck it, that ain't a signing, is it?
It costs something, isn't it?
So, I don't care what it costs. That is not a signing. Don't you sound like Poxy David Gold now,
mate? No, and this is exactly my point. If he had only cost £5 million, it's still a sign. I don't know what the price was. It's still a signing.
$1 million.
They said, well, whatever. They said there was nothing, so they've lied straight away because there's been something. If there's nothing, you can't get anybody.
I'm not sure.
I still think someone to be signed. I still think it. Because I don't believe for 1 minute.
When you're saying someone to be signed, are you talking another one of these non-signings, or are you talking a sort of £10 million plus, player?
There could be 2 £1 million signings that we've never heard of.
But that's different, mate. That's different. That's a different thing.
But this will be their argument. This will be exactly their argument. And this 1 point, someone should put it, 1 point, Charlie put it, 1.3 million. This player, no one knows nothing about. No one knew about Kufau at 5.4. Nobody. But if this player at 1.3 is the only signing, they will say we signed this player, especially if he comes in and plays and does a good job. We only got him for 1.3 million. Look,
mate, we all know that the geezer that we bought in, and this is what gets me about West Ham. I don't want to go on a rant, mate. This is positive. We're in a good place. It's Christmas. Let's all be happy. I'm all in the spirit of the festive cheer and all that, right? So I don't want to see anything negative and whatever, right? But what frustrates me is that signing, apparently he's one for the future. One for the future. The geezer's 21. Mate, Rooney was doing it in the Premier League at the age of 16. If he ain't ready at 21, all he's going to be is another Martinez or another one of them players who is going to come into the club, so-called one for the future, and we're never going to see him play a game for West Ham. Then he'll be shipped out like a Hax Abramovich, like all of them. If he isn't ready at the age of 21 to be on that bench and featuring, mate, then he's never going to be ready. Because at the age of 20, Declan Rice is 21. Not only is Declan Rice ready at the age of, he's 22 now, isn't he, I think, Declan? Not only is he ready, but he looks like one of the best players, if not in the Premier League, across Europe, in the position that he plays in. So a 21-year-old being one for the future, mate, I don't understand. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
No, but they'll gamble on 3 or 4 of these instead of spending all that money on one player.
Any time we've ever made this sort of signing, they've never, ever, ever worked out.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree. But if it works, you know who's going to be the hero for this, don't you? The little man who's made the signing. And that's what it's all about every time. Same with Kufau now. It'll all be because of him. And this is the problem. Let him do the transfers, because what David Moyes wants, that he don't really rate when it comes to needing to sign him or wanting to sign him. It's all rubbish, mate. It's complete and utter rubbish. The biggest problem West Ham have, and will always have, is what owns it. There's too much input and too much power.
So that's the question then. Forget about the money. Forget about that. Will we sign anyone?
Yes.
Because apparently we don't need... Shut up, man. Will we sign anyone who... Because apparently we didn't need anyone that weren't going to improve the first team squad. So will we sign anyone that will improve in the transfer window?
No.
Okay, that's what we needed to get at. No. That's what we needed to understand.
The only thing we could do is we could sign a left wing back. That would improve.
Which would improve. Because might not be got one at the moment.
And we might sign another forward on loan, which would improve us. So me saying no, I don't necessarily agree. Will it improve our first team? No.
Yeah.
With everybody fit. Will it improve our squad? Yes, because it would give us an option. So
we're not going to go and sign someone significant enough that improves our first 11, is what we're saying.
No. So I'm going to give an example. We need a forward at West Ham.
Yeah.
But no forward will give you what Antonio gives you. Any forward, what I know of, will give you what Antonio gives you that we could sign to be better or equally as good as him. Nobody. So it wouldn't improve us. And David Moyes wouldn't change the way we play for signing another forward. We could go and sign... I need to think of a forward who's banging in goals. I'm going to give a right stupid example. Dwight Gow. Is it Dwight Gow, the kid at Newcastle?
Yeah.
Him. We could go and sign him and expect him to do what Antonio does. On a man who's built like a feather, ain't got the strength, ain't X, Y, Z. That's exactly what we'd do. So would we...
Another question, because some people have also said that they think Josh King will come in, which will improve our first team. If you play Josh King in the same way that we're playing Haller at the moment, does Josh King do a better job? And will that be a good enough centre forward to play in the way that we play as a team for him to get goals and be a top striker for us?
No. Not on his own. No. I think if you got Josh King in and you didn't have Antonio, you'd get a much better pairing out of Josh King and Haller together. But you wouldn't get Josh King represent 50% of what Antonio does. Same as you don't with Haller. Together, I think you would completely. And I think I think Brownie's bang on there. Tosin at Everton, the way he plays would do a better job than what Haller and Josh King do. It's not saying he's great, but he'd do a better job for that role because that suits his game more. Calvert-Lewin's the same. He can play that way. We're not going to go and sign a player like that. But that sort of player is what you need. I don't know who's out there who can do it. I don't think there's anyone. You know, the one who possibly is, but again, you know, we can't even get in Fulham's team. Mitrovic. There's another player you know can get the ball at his feet and hold the player off. Can win a header in the air. That is what Antonio does. But Mitrovic does not have 10% of Antonio's pace. So again, it wouldn't help when you're playing counter-attacking football. That's what you've got to remember. That is what we set up at. To be a counter-attacking side.
Yeah.
Take the pressure, hit and bang. That's exactly what David Moyes does. Overload it, crowd it up, win the ball, 4 of you get on your toes. Or 3 of you. But he wants to do that with Mark Noble at the front of that at number 10. Someone's making bad choices.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. So we've sort of broke it all down there, and we get some knocks at times with saying we're negative. No one was negative there. It's literally just breaking down, you know, what the possibilities are today and what can happen. And that's not saying, you know, we're whinging or anything else. We're happy with where we are in the table. We're happy with the run that we've been on. I would like to see us go and pick something up out of today's game, mate, because I think we can quickly undo all that hard work at the beginning of the season, and the season can fade away quite quickly. So, and as Gareth just said, it is honesty. That is what we're all about. We try and be just honest, and that's it.
But, mate, being negative is something that, to be honest, I'd like to think I ain't. Because I think
I would agree, because you're backing Haller, you're backing Fornals, you're backing
being
players.
Negative is calling these players shit every single game.
Yeah.
Every game. And I'll be honest with you now, what shit is what the manager's doing to them. That's what shit. because it hasn't worked the first time. Why, or the second, or the third, or the fourth, or the sixth, fifth, sixth, seventh? Why is it going to work the 11th time? Give it up. It hasn't worked. You know it ain't. Try something new.
Yeah,
But
agreed. And that's what we want to see today. We want to see
the
something
problem
new.
is the manager. It's not just them players. It's the manager for the way we play. Them players. Let's be frank. Let's just cut this down quickly. Sebastian Haller did not sign for West Ham to be a sole striker to do what Antonio does. And West Ham did not sign him for that reason. And I know it wasn't a David Moyes signing, in fairness. I know that. But no matter whose signing it is, for them reasons, you have to adapt your game if that's all you've got available. If you can't, for me, you ain't up for a big job. You're at your depth managing at this level, because this level, you need to have options. And this is why, I've said it before, this is why I think West Brom will get caught out this year. I don't believe Sam Allardyce has got the options at West Brom that he'll need. And that's why I think they'll get caught, and I still believe they'll go down.
Yeah, no, agreed. Paul, I'm with you, mate. I'd go with Bowen up top with Ben Rama. Just said that a little while back, but that is something that I would like to see and I would do. That's just my opinion. Whether people agree with it or not, don't know, but that is certainly something that I would try. Maybe we should play a different system then if it only works with an injury-prone 30-year-old. I think that's pretty spot on as well at the end of the day. You know, we all know how injury prone Antonio is. Even if he does come back, mate, and get us firing again, how long is it going to last for? So, you know, we do need to find something else. We've got to find another way of playing. Origi would be good. I think Origi would, you know, do a job. Got no issues with that. Jazz has said, don't forget how the manager's improved Antonio, Cresswell, Ogbonna, Bowen, Souček, Soufal, Balbuena. On the flip side, can't not agree with that. I think he has improved a lot of players, but I think he improved them when we stumbled across that system that worked for us. I think now we're playing in a different way. Some of them are getting, you know, an hard time again. So,
just on that note, I'm not sure he's improved Cresswell, if I'm honest with you, because I don't think Cresswell was finished. I think the formation has improved for Cresswell, and not having Anderson in front of him as a left winger. He's also, on that note, he's ruined Anderson, because Anderson is not a left winger. Ogbonna, I don't think he's improved. I think Ogbonna's always been pretty good. Same with Balbuena. I just think players have had dip in form, and that happens everywhere, you know. Without being funny, Nathan Ake, we all spoke about signing. He's gone to Man City and couldn't get in their side. Just gone back in. John Stones was wrote off, was the laughing stock. Back in the Man City side doing well. So I think a lot of that is form. Bowen, has he improved him? Did we know him beforehand? You know, he signed him like that. So I can't use Souček, you know, Kufel. They're not players he's improved, surely to God. Because we've not seen them any worse. We've only seen them as we are. And I'll be honest with you, I think what he's done with Kufel, and again, I'm not digging Kufel out because I like him. I think it's been a great signing. It's not improved him. If anything, he's made him worse, playing him as a wing-back because he signed him as a right-back. So he ain't improved him for me, Jazz. And that's my opinion. It doesn't make me right. I just don't see how we've improved him, or certainly not improved.
I think some players did. Balbuena players like that, they were ones that didn't look like they were doing, you know, very well. They was out of form. We didn't think we was going to see them again. They've come back in. They do look better. You know, when we played that system. But this is a real big point. Words and pictures here. Moyes leading us down a dead end to failure. 50-50 on that. We can't afford another Antonio. After an injury one time, Antonio will come back without his pace. And that is always the biggest worry. If he gets a tear rather than a pull at some point, you know, he's going to come back and he's not going to be the same player. We can't say that we're only going to be a side who can win matches if we've got Antonio, mate, because that's just not good. That, you know, it's not good enough. And I do think we've looked pretty poor in the last couple of games, mate, in terms of creating opportunities, creating chances. And I don't think that is just down to personnel. I think that is down to the system we've been playing, how we've been playing. It just hasn't been working, mate. It really hasn't been working.
Slim Reaper's put it there. Look, with defenders, it's more about relationships, and Diaz has brought that out with Stones. Agreed. And they're things that make a big difference. You know, going into last season, Ogbonna was our third choice centre-back. Finished it the best seat, the best centre back, the best. Going into this season, if that's true, he has to start today.
Agreed. Absolutely agree.
100%. And if that's the case, I'd even play him to the left and Ben Rama in the middle still on the 10 roll, in for Fornals. That would be the change for me today, 100%.
No,
him on the left, Fornals in the middle. Sorry, not Fornals, Ben Rama in the middle. And you'd lose Fornals and Noble out of that side. That would be what I'd have.
Yeah, agreed. Lots of people agreeing with this comment. Anthony Jones, if you play basically the same 11 every week, the players will get tired, knackered, eventually injured or lose form. The squad is too weak. I think there's so many caveats to that, mate. It's, you get found out with how you play because people know what to expect when they play you. There's no surprises. They can set up to, counteract your best parts and to punish your weaknesses. It's also the fact that, if you get an injury and you've been playing the same way every single time, you haven't got anyone who's ready to step up because they ain't been getting any first team football. I'm not even talking about starting matches or swapping. I'm talking about bringing someone on with half hour to go. So they are still having an effect. They are still used to playing, first team football. There's nothing like match fitness. If you're playing the same 11 week in, week out, when you ask one of them to step up, they're off the pace. It takes a few games for them to get up and running. I do think you need to have, I'm not talking about rotating the whole team, but I'm certainly talking about having a few different ways of playing that you set up differently to suit certain games. And that means you have a few different people who are changing and different players playing every week. And then if you need one of them to step up, they can. I think the perfect example of that we've had is Fornals and his bit of lesser form. I think there's been loads of arguments to play different players in there and we just haven't seen it, and I think we need to start, I don't know, just being a little bit more intelligent with how we are, rather than just saying there's one way we play, it all relies on Antonio and that's it. We need something else, mate.
No, I think you're right. And Paul's comment above, mate. Baz, when would you look to sign a keeper as Fab is getting on? I agree, very, very soon. That would be a target for me this summer, goalkeeper. 100%. That would be a main target because you want someone now who's going to be his number two, who is going to be ready for when the occasion comes. No disrespect to Darren Randolph. I love Darren Randolph off the pitch and on the pitch. Great guy, real good guy. He hasn't got 3-4 years in him either. And we need a keeper now who you're going to have for 3-4 years. Let's be fair. If we have a great goalie, they're not going to be here for more than 3 or 4 years anyway because they'll be moved on as well. But
That's
you
right.
need someone who's going to get blooded in very, very soon.
All these players that were linked, mate, MB's put this, all these players were linked, all these players were clearly high up on Moyes' wish list, and I'm not saying you'd sign all of them, but out of Watkins, Wilson, Cash, Target, Eze and Aarons, you get 3 or 4 of those in the last window. All of a sudden, we don't look anywhere near as thin as we do at the moment. And actually, I think we'd look like having a proper squad then. I think it's a shame that we missed out on a lot of those because there was a lot of talk. And there's no smoke without fire, mate. I don't think it was just rumours. I do think they were up there on Moyes' wish list and all were looking like serious players. I think we missed out on quite a few opportunities there and it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, but don't forget all these players the manager didn't rate. When they come to a valuation on their head, all of a sudden he didn't rate them. That's the problem.
We know that was just the ball making an excuse.
Exactly
so
that.
They didn't get signed. We know that.
This is nothing against Ben Rama. Ben Rama's not a manager signing either. He didn't want him. He wanted another player. Now, the reason he wanted another player is because of the way he plays. This is the influence you have of David Sullivan. And it will never go away all the while they're chairman, or he's chairman, along with Sir David Gold of West Ham. It's going nowhere. You can't, as good as we've done, I can't take away the start we've had. We've had a great start to the season. I'm not going to knock that. The problem will always be there with who owns this football club. And it's pointless starting well and forgetting all the problems you've got. Because that message there alone is the reason why West Ham are 10th and Everton are 2nd. Yeah, Southampton are above us. Leicester are above us. And that's why them sides will always be above us. Not just this season, but always. Because if their managers really wanted them players, they would have got 2-3 of them targets. Yeah. Not who their chairman said, you've got this one instead. I know you want one of them 5, but I've got you this one. That's the big difference. All the wild area, that's exactly what David Moyes.
We had all of those and we got one on loan.
Mate, let's be real. just look back, not even since the move, before the move, look at all the names of managers been linked to West Ham. All refused us, apart from one, Rafa Benitez, because he went to Real Madrid instead. No disrespect to Rafa Benitez whatsoever. He ended up at Newcastle. And I still think he's a good manager. But that just goes to show that man didn't only do his job for money. He'd done it for the love of the game. And that's why he ended up at Newcastle, because he could have had a better job than that. And that's no disrespect to Newcastle whatsoever. But every manager refused us.
Yeah.
And the reason they refused us is what owns it.
Yeah, no, agreed. And Rio's made a perfect point, mate. It isn't just about signings. Just look at the training ground Leicester have just built, mate. It is about the whole culture from top to bottom. You know what it's like, mate? When you walk into a business, when you walk into... Mate, if you just walk into a local shop, you know if it's run well. You get that feeling. You know if something is done properly. You know if the staff are happy. You know if people are trained well. You just get that feeling a million miles away. And it is about the culture right from the bottom all the way to the top of how things should be. I think it isn't just about signing players, mate. We should give them the right environment that they want to be there, that they enjoy being there. I said to you before, mate, I watch those all or nothings. You look at... what Leeds have got and how the players are desperate to be there and love being there. You look at Tottenham's training ground and what they've built. You look at the NFL teams and what they've built there, mate. That they're proper places where people love to play football. People used to love to play for West Ham, mate, and cry when they left on the pitch. But I think that was more down to the affinity with the fans than it was... anything to do with the football club itself. But I just think, mate, we've got a lot of work to do. It isn't just about signing the players that Moyes wants. It ain't about that. I think we need to change a lot of our culture from top to bottom, from scouting, from, like you said earlier, getting your youth teams playing in the same way that the first team are, having a bit of a 5-year plan that you want to build on and where you want to go in football, having a setup and a culture in a football that you want to play in a certain way. We need all of that, mate, and I think we're so far off of that it's been fun enjoying this little run and this little purple patch we've had. But it was never going to last, was it?
No, not at all. You're right. And let me ask you a question. And, mate, I'm not being negative. I'm just being realistic. Sebastian Haller, before he joined West Ham, with his price tag, was one of the best strikers in Europe with his record, right? With the players that surround him at West Ham now, would you rather see a different player than Sebastian Haller at West Ham or a different manager managing him moving forward?
Well, that's a different manager managing him, to be quite honest.
And that's my point. I don't think you'd have Ancelotti doing to Haller what David Moyes is doing to him. And I don't mean that rudely. And I don't want to slag David Moyes off. I said this earlier on in this show. Give him the contract now, because you need something to build on for the 4 or 5 year plan, whatever there may be. But if you're having that plan, the owners have to support him, not them. They have to support him, not what they want. This is where the problem is. So as crazy as this may sound, because his form, his return hasn't been great, I would rather see a proper manager managing Sebastian Haller than another player playing that role for David Moyes, because I don't believe there's another player out there that will give you who we could afford what Antonio gives you.
No, there isn't.
And that's why I would rather a different manager managing him. Him, Ben Rama, if he signs permanently, Lanzini, Bowen, Anderson, if you get him back at his prime, them 5 there alone have enough goals in them and about them. Managed correctly. You won't get 20 goals out of them. Probably you won't get 20 goals out of them combined I missed Antonio off that, and Antonio, you won't get 20 goals out of them combined if you continue to play the way we're playing.
Yeah.
Because as soon as that one main person, being Antonio, comes out, it's gone. That system does not work. A good manager would know how to adapt.
No, I do agree with you, mate. And Liam's just put it here. In my opinion, Hilaire should adapt to him. David Moyes has his system and it's working. The problem is, at the moment, David Moyes doesn't have his system. And I know that's the point you're trying to make, i.e., we've got to give him the personnel to be able to, play that system even when we get injuries and so on. But sometimes, mate, things happen. Sometimes you get, you could buy 2 new left wing backs if you wanted to in the transfer window. Both of them could go and get long injuries, one after the other. It happens. And then what do? It is down to the manager to know that when you get problems, that's what he's paid all that money to do. I think we forget that sometimes. David, I know players get paid a fortune, so we all put the pressure on them. But at the end of the day, the managers also get paid a lot of money, and they get paid a lot of money to make the decisions and make the big calls and have the know-how to play in a different way when these things happen. We've got injuries, and we haven't been the same side since. I'm not saying we've been bad. I don't think we've been bad. I think we've been all right. But I'm just saying that the form and what we're getting out of players since we've had to make these changes hasn't been the same. Today, I'm hoping we get back on winning ways. I'm hoping that we can, they are a little bit of a bogey team for us. And it ain't going to be easy today. Like I say, we haven't been creating chances, and this mob, that's what they do best, stop you getting chances. So that is my biggest concern today. But I really do hope that, when we see that lineup, we see something a bit different, and and we go and get a result today, mate. What's your prediction?
3-1. I always predict 3-1. 3-1 we'll win.
Yeah. No,
I don't. Hilaire 2, 1.
Well, like I said, with the fact of they don't let you have chances, I don't think there'll be many shots on target. I think it's got 0-0 written all over it. However, I'm going to go with us nicking it 1-0. How that goal comes, I don't know, whether it be from a set play or whether it be from a penalty, because Kent's predicted a penalty today. So I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to take the 1-0.
Who takes it? Who takes the penalty? If
Cresswell for me, mate.
Good shout. I just want to touch on Gareth, because Gareth said, so why then Baz is Moyes your bloke? The reason he's my bloke is because of who we are and where we are. We're West Ham, and I know what owns us. That's why I'd give David Moyes that contract. For me, it would be, I'm going to use this man as a prime example because he's out of work. Pochettino would get more out of the West Ham players than David Moyes does playing football. We wouldn't see stats of West Ham having 30% of possession, as put on another comment. We'd see them creating 6 chances, no shots on target. You'd see a hell of a lot more. You wouldn't be relying on scoring from set pieces and being a danger from them. You'd have other attacks. 100% that man would get that out of the side. The problem is, what he wouldn't get is what he wanted and what he needed from above. David Moyes is a go with the flow man, a yes man, so to speak. He will do. Oh, my screen's gone blank. Sorry, I thought I lost you. He will do as he's told. Don't tell me any other manager in football. Lanzini, if he starts for the penalties, he will take it. You're right. Don't tell me any other manager with so much respect for himself would say, I want this player, this player, this player, this player, this player. You can't get them. I didn't rate this player, this player, this player, this player, this player. I want that player. You can't have him. I've got you this one on loan. Okay. Who's going to accept that?
Right. No, you're right.
We've watched managers leave for players be sold behind their back. Ain't that happened with Grady Diangana? I've not literally seen the statement or heard it come out of his mouth, but I believe it's meant to be true that he didn't want Grady Diangana to be sold. Whether it's turned out to be good business or not, at the time, he didn't want him to be sold. Neither did members of the team. He got sold. Yeah. That's why I want David Moyes, because we will be going through managers like Watford, if not.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why Watford go through their managers. And that's exactly what would happen. I don't know this stat. Kent will help me out. Up until Harry Redknapp, I'm sure we was one of the clubs with the lowest amount of all-time managers, because people stayed and managed this football club for a period, not for 2-3 years. They stayed and managed a period. Do you know, I couldn't think of anything better right now, and even if it is David Moyes, than to know that man is manager for this football club for the next 10, 15 years. Sheffield United are doing this with Wilder, and have said no matter what happens, if they go down or not, he will be their manager. I hope that's true for his sake. I really do. I've said this before, and I'm going to get criticised for this. I want to see Frank Lampard do well at Chelsea. I want to see Arteta do well at Arsenal for their sake, not for the clubs, for their sake. I like the respect they have as players from that club. And I'd like to see them do well for that reason. I'd love to see in a few years' time, Ollie at Man United, I'd love to see when he goes, Wayne Rooney step in his shoes and manage them and do really well because of the relationship he's got with that football club. I'd love, if David Moyes walked out of that chair tomorrow and Mark Noble took it over, him to be our manager for the next 10, 15 years. I'd love that loyalty. West Ham don't need to keep chopping and changing to keep up with times. We're not one of them clubs. We're not one of them clubs who are going to compete at the very, very high level. Not all the while we have who we have in charge. If we was bought out tomorrow, you know what's coming. But that's part and parcel of having all the money in football. And that, for me, is why I'd keep David Moyes. Not because, and I'll be honest with you now, I don't think he is the best manager for West Ham. But I think he's the right manager for West Ham, as we are right now.
Make your perfect point made, mate, and totally agree with you. Right, well, I guess we'll leave it there, mate, and let's go and enjoy the game. Hopefully get the result that we're all looking for. We'll jump back on straight after the full-time whistle. I'm going to come on and offer a phone-in for people to have their say. Will you be about, mate?
Yeah, I'll be around. What time?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what time
straight
again.
At full time.
Yeah, straight at full time. We'll be back on, do a phone in, let people give a call and you know, give their opinion on what's gone down and tell us all we were wrong and we've won 3-0 and happy days.
Yeah. Game on, game on, game on. What's the game now? Leeds. Excuse me, Leeds Burnley. Leeds Burnley. I'm great at predicting scores. If you've listened to Away Day Radio on the Saturday, me and Frankie, my predictions are brilliant. This is going to be 3-1 to Leeds.
Yeah, I'll make you right, mate. I'll stick with you on that one.
They're all 3-1s today, by the way.
They're all 3-1s. Every result, back it.
Except for Liverpool, West Brom. That'll be 6-0. And Big Sam's going to go through 23 packs of chewing gum and be crying at full time. What job have I done here?
Catch you later on, everyone.
See you later.
I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in